Hey there, greetings everyone. It's GleeCon, and I am back again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thank you for tuning in. On the last episode, we read the art book about the Cataclysm, and so far it's been just smooth sailing, actually far easier than I imagined. I had always hoped um, that, if nothing else, I could get these on an e-reader. Well, these books are not available in e-reader form, and they're art books. I get it. Their best use is as like a coffee table kind of thing. So then my hope would be, okay, can we find uploads? And all the way up now until Cataclysm, taking away the one we're waiting on, I've been able to do that. Now we've hit Mr. Pandaria, and the struggle is real. So stay a while and listen as we talk about this art book, but it's going to be in a different format. I did find a, let's just say it's a bootleg site, but almost everything wants you to make a subscription to read this book, and I don't want to do that. You can order it from Amazon for above 50, so that's got to be from a reseller. I could also order it on eBay and wait and play that game, but I feel like I would only want to do that if there was no other way to access this book, because the creators aren't getting the money. It's all resellers at this point. So I did find a kind of a file share site. I don't think it's American based, and they've uploaded one JPEG at a time. Now I'm not going to download the whole art book, but the only downside of this is, as you see the cover, which is cool there, we go to the next one, every picture takes a second to download, so it's a little bit more time consuming than normal. If you scroll down, it looks like they've got every page. There's 211 pages because they're counting the cover here. So we're going to get through as much as we can, but this might be slightly slower because of that. So let's get in, and we're just going to kind of look at one page at a time. The art for Miss Pandaria is, really nice art direction, really breathtaking. It's I hated it as an idea at first, but it really grew on me as I've played it. So we do have multiple chapters. The first chapter is called A New World, Parting the Mists, The Wandering Isle, the Jade Forest, Valley of the Four Winds, Crossarang Wilds, Kunlai Summit, Townlong Steps, and Vale of Eternal Blossoms. So that's what we're going to look at, I guess, the environments first, and then chapter 2 would be the allies and enemies, the Pandarans, the Hosen, the Jinyu, the Mantid, the Mogu, and other cultures and creatures, followed by a chapter at the end just for equipment. So kind of a different shake-up for how they've set it up in the past. I hope this is also not foreshadowing how it's going to go from the books from now on. Chapter 1, A New World. For over 10,000 years, an impenetrable mist shrouded the legendary realm of Pandaria. Without warning, the island's veil disappeared, revealing this enchanted land to the outside world. Teeming with exotic life, Pandaria's diverse landscapes range from lush emerald forests dotted with ancient ruins to towering snow-capped mountains. The Isle's myriad cultures have customs and beliefs unlike anything the rest of the world has ever seen. Pandaria's most prolific people, the noble Pandaran, oversee a peaceful empire of quaint farming villages and stunning majestic temples. Now that this island's long era of isolation is over, it's only a matter of time before the Pandaran and other indigenous races make contact with explorers from Azeroth's disparate kingdoms. Okay. Great. There you just have, obviously they lean heavily into the Chinese art on this one. Can't fault them for that. It's nice. This is the picture, I guess, as you're leading towards your crash landing in the island, almost like that's from a cinematic. The New World, Parting the Mists. Across Azeroth, war rages between the Alliance and the Horde. Their ferocious naval battles have bled onto the newly discovered shores of Pandaria. As both factions race to establish footholds on this mysterious island, it remains to be seen whether they will find new allies or new enemies. Okay, so this is our first subset. This is, I don't know if this is obviously a CGI, but it might be in-game, but very nice art of some scarred human. Not a trustworthy human, but sure. And then you have more of these just shady humans that I guess are part of this world. I don't know why or how that goes. Here's more sketch art of, maybe these are the Alliance sailors, but the Alliance is taking a kind of a dirtier, less trustworthy look this time around. Here's another picture of, I guess, some kind of sailor, but the art is really good, and it's almost some blend of, in and out of game. And even like the orcs, they look a little bit fierce and not friendly, a little heavy on the eye shadow there. Here you go, more almost piratey with the eye patch there. So they're showing that the people that are showing up to Pandaria, neither one are like, oh, this is a noble one that we want to be part of, which makes sense why the Pandarin can choose either. Here's kind of the spires you see. Some of the towns and temples are set up on when you play the game. The cherry blossom trees. Actually, that cherry blossom's more Japanese. But there might be Chinese cherry blossom trees. I'm not an expert of like Far Eastern culture. I don't know. Here's the monk like whacking them over the back of the stick. So the basically the Pandarin come in and beat both sides down. Probably interrupting some battle they have, and this is like storyboard comic of the initial cutscene. And you see the petals flying in front of the monk. Here's two different shots of, or four different shots kind of the orc people. And here's another one. He's got the loincloth, so maybe this is after they land, after some kind of captivity. But yeah, just various shots. They're taking a whole nother direction, so they've definitely upped their game and what they can afford. Here they've got sketches, and as soon as I say that, then you get to see all the concept art sketches. Imagine being like, that's your job. Just rapidly, I would imagine this is just over and over again, sketch, 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 sketch. I don't know, again, I don't have that. This is the same thing, orcs, but they look more concerned and maybe afraid. Or suspicious, maybe was the bottom one. Here's a nice picture of one of the ships they take, and I guess the ships do make a big play in the beginning. That's a cool picture of maybe a horde ship, but I can't tell because it's got the horns in the front. But really, this is all beautiful art. Shame that this format won't let us have it a little bigger, but here's some weapons that they're including with it. Like a broken sword and scabbard, and then just some little like touches. Some either maybe this is the bottom of beards or the way they're tying off ropes. This is maybe an incense burner or maybe a weapon. I can't tell. Just a post. Page 6, 26 here. It's taking a minute to load. There's the hilt of the same sword, and maybe that's a hammer. Now that on closer inspection, that makes me feel like that's a hammerhead there. Here's, yeah, somebody that's crash landed and stumbling onto the shore, the jungles around the land. That's really, just really high quality. These are painting quality art, whole different level from what we've seen in the previous books. Again, here you kind of see that the dark and grayness on the isle. Maybe it's foreshadowing the Shahs that are kind of coming out. Here's a clawed orc and another human. So just, yeah, I guess they're going to land. They're going to be shipwrecked, and then they're going to fight each other. As you can see there, I kind of clicked off and then had all this Cyrillic alphabet stuff. Yeah, a dirty, shitty, but he's got like the Chinese dragon shirt motif. So it's almost like we're dirty, we're shipwrecked in this land, but now we're starting to become like acculturated a little bit. Yeah, the shipwrecks that are off the coast of the Emerald Forest or whatever it's called, the Jade Forest. Here's more of the kind of Chinese trees growing on the rocks in the surf. So we're definitely seeing the lands a lot. The Wandering Isle, this would be the starting zone for the babies. For many generations, the boldest Pandarin gathered on the back of the colossal sea turtle Shenzin Tzu to venture across the world. The moving isle's inhabitants are the descendants of a rare breed of Pandarin explorers who left their mist-shrouded homeland behind in search of knowledge and adventure. Okay. This is kind of weird. You have the these weird little Puka Korak Kirby Pillsbury Doughboy looking men on the top of a turtle shell. That's, I'm guessing, on the back of another turtle. Turtles all the way down, and this is kind of a sketch. We've seen these map sketches throughout of basically what the city on the back of a turtle would look like, or what's the world on the back of a turtle. Here you have another side profile. Look at all his legs on this one. Looks like he's got multiple, almost 6 legs, but that might be, you know, something they pivot away from. I don't remember or know. Here's more of the architecture style, and this is almost like the hot air balloon, because there are hot air balloons in this realm. So kind of getting a chance to see some of that. And then the rice paddy type of agricultural setup. I guess it does. It really gives you a lot, to start building your art direction around. When you get to pick a whole culture from Earth, you're gonna, copy and paste from. Here you have the temples built within the waterfall and the walls. Really, you know, beautiful setting. There's and flying dragon in the air. You can't go wrong. It is really a gorgeous art style. And there are things I really liked about the Panda. Although you can see there's also sneaking things. There's a little temple, a shrine. That the beginning of kind of the downfall of WoW also started here. I mean, in Cataclysm, whatever. They've iterated enough times, but there was enough. I think there was still more good than bad. A little waterfall shrine in Mists of Pandaria. I like the monk class. They're cool. A lot of these classes that come out, people would never take away. Here's like partially grown bonsai, and you have these coins. And I like the Pandarin as a race. So here you have more symbols with, again, these bonsai type. It looks like some are kind of dying and broken. More temples, indoor temples with that tonal style, almost tiled, carved wooden, like wall structures. Raft poles, again, there's a hot air balloon kind of idea. The more of the temples. Now this is floating. Now you're starting to add the supernatural in there, as that bell kind of structure is floating at the top. Here you have the lion dragon kind of mask that you see. Again, they're showing that this kind of wraps around the temple at the top of the spire of rock. And the Jade Forest would really be the first zone. It's very similar to it that you'll see on the Wandering Isle. This land of cloud-ringed mountains and hidden bamboo thickets runs along Pandaria's eastern shore. Horde and Alliance forces have spread out into this extraordinary locale, hoping to gain support from the ferocious Hosen and industrious Jinyu races that dwell throughout the Jade Forest. And you have the other side of that. And I like the Jade Forest zone. Actually, that's another thing that I like about Mists of Pandaria. There's like no zones within it that I hate. And that is not true for most of the other expansions. I don't know. Actually, that might be too harsh. All right, so here you have the temples within the Jade Forest. That's maybe the Jade Temple. That I think is a dungeon you can do. Here's a gong. You have the gong and a lot of dragon motifs in the Jade Forest. I guess this is kind of like a well, but it's almost magical. And this is almost like a Dungeons and Dragons map style of the overhead view of a temple map there. Again, I don't know what these are. If they're water, if it's magic fluid, I can't remember. Yeah, more two-story temple, so you kind of have the balconies within that is part of the game. There's a thicker kind of gate archway, and yeah, just more shots of these temple interior motif. Okay, you've got the bamboo forest now right up along the water, and along with more temple sketches. But yeah, that's another thing that's cool. You get the bamboo, the dragon kind of accent pieces on the edges of these temples. The single temple over a little bridge. That reminds me of the movie Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, Spring. One of my favorite movies of all time. Here's a bridge that is stylized like a dragon. That's cool. Highly recommend it. Not a lot of dialogue. It's subtitled. Here you have another temple sketch. But it is just the story of generational monks, almost singular. Here you have kind of the lore master, where you see the scroll with the painting on it and the words coming down. And one of the things I like about the here you have an old panda, and he's writing a giant scroll. Things I like about Mists of Pandaria is I'm lore first. That's my jam. The steps up a mountain here, and you can tell it's gonna be part of a 2-page splash. Here you have the second half, the bamboo forest in autumn, the jade covered mountain. I put lore first, and I love that the panda do that, and really a lot of the achievements and things really focused on the lore and collecting the lore and finding the hidden lore, and I can't wait to do that together with you guys as well. Okay, so yeah, this is again, like painting quality temple or building on the side of a mountain. Beautiful. This is the valley, like bridge overlooking the valley. Great. It's just great art. This is, I think, the best art of them that we've seen so far. Valley of the Four Winds, the fourth chapter, renowned for its tranquil farmlands and bustling breweries. The Valley of the Four Winds is a land rich with fertile soil and pristine waters. Although this thriving heartland's residents are plagued by vermin and other pests, they face even greater threat from the savage mantid of the nearby dread wastes. Again, can't really complain. The only thing I don't like about the Valley of the Four Winds is, one, the constant camping of the world boss that shrieks across the world. Here's another mountain, kind of, as we slowly, it's almost more fields, a little bit less green. And two, this is the beach where you end up having to do one of the more annoying quest lines. I like the dragon still flying, but yeah, you get these farms built around mountains. Or is this piles of hay, grain for their brew? The kind of the war quest line, which just is gated behind days. This is where they start gating progress. They still do that, where you have to do a little bit every day to hopefully gain more. All right, so here is the, like a shop. It's cool. Like a little town, like a marketplace, which that's part of it too, because this is where you get your cooking. I have a strong love-hate with the cooking and farming mechanics in Mists of Pandaria. Strong love-hate. It's like teddy bears, but they're probably panda just swimming inside of a little village. Here's temples. Look at that, like panda on top of. It's like for some reason this to me smacks of brewery. But yeah, there's just, you have to work so hard, so much time. It's so ridiculous. Here's more kegs inside the brewery and kind of like the instance, the whatever it's called, but the place that's basically a brewery, that's a dungeon also. And here's kind of inside hinting like, hey, this is the one that's going to be possessed by these elementals and stuff. There is a spooky shot, and here's with the water wheel coming out, sketches of the brewery. More really well done sketches. Even the sketches in this one are just so much better. Dang it. Twice. Yeah, more interior spooky brewery shots. There's just a tree outside, but it's like vine-grown trees. Now we're on the Crossrang Wilds. I'm trying to remember. I guess this is the south. If you go over the waterfall and go to the south. Oh, this is where... Not the Valley of the Four Winds, although I do think maybe there's a world boss there. I don't remember. But the Crossrang Wilds, that's where the world boss is. That's where the ocean battle is. Yeah, I'm mixing. I was mixing the two. My bad. Crossrang Wilds, that's where... Take everything I just said about Valley of the Four Winds. That's Crossrang Wilds. Valley of the Four Winds that's the cooking quest line. That part's true. Once home to a sprawling Mogu port, the dense Crossrang Wilds stretch along Pandaria's southern shores. Most Pandaren avoid this shadowy place and its dangerous inhabitants, but groups of intrepid fishermen have been known to brave the wilds and ply their trade in the area's bountiful coastal waters. Man, the Mists of Pandaria achievements take so long to get. So long. There's just, because of this stuff, fighting the different people at the Red Crane Temple, like, there's just so much RNG and checking in every day to see if something spawns. It's so painful. Okay, so here's how you start to see some of the spirits, the four main spirits, which kind of tap into the same ideas of the greater, like Agamagan or whatever. Like, Mists of Pandaria has its own kind of Loa. Here's the creepy jungle-y land of the Crossrang Wilds. It is dark jungle, most of it. I guess that's more serpent-like than snake-like. But they have their four, which I do like them taking that same idea that's in World of Warcraft. Here's like a serpent again, bridge. So serpent motif going throughout. That word comes up a lot on these art ones, but it's a very art-centric word. Yeah, like ruins and rubble within the darkness. Here you have the almost like a Mogu, but the Mogu are very, that dragon lion kind of Chinese structure. Yeah, I like that. I'm just blown away. Just high quality painting. I'm always impressed by these things that I either can't do or I've never mastered. I don't know that I ever could be that good to freehand paint. I don't know if that's something I don't know. Most things on Earth, I feel like if I made that my devotion and I put 8 hours a day to it, I could maybe get that good. But this, I don't know if I could. That's a cool, I guess this is kind of as you start to get closer out to the west, closer to the Manted Lands. They have some of that kind of big tree. Now you have Kunlai Summit, important new area. This maybe will be our last chapter. Chill winds lash this snowy mountain region, site of a breathtaking temple complex devoted to the powerful spirit of the white tiger, Xuen. Among Kunlai's denizens are members of the Shadow Pan, an elite order of highly disciplined Pandaran fighters dedicated to protecting their empire from any threat. Again, they're just rife with opportunities to make cool things. So you can take the Mount Everest / Himalayas, the mountains here. That's a whole nother element of being in the kind of Chinese land and the monks that come with that and the Mongolians that come with that. You've just got so many things to play for, like an embarrassment of riches. Here's the mountain temple there. It's just so cool. Yeah, you can see the foothills kind of leading into the snow-capped lands above. And yeah, a different now style of temple here. The white tiger being a big influence on all of the art for this zone. Yeah, here you have him again, and you do have to interact. He's one of the easier of the 4 to complete their quest line. Each of the 4 have a quest line. His is probably, you just have to do an arena fight. It takes some RNG, but it's not too bad. Here you have hot air balloons flying up. And again, you have the panda there as a perspective to kind of show how big he is, and he's got this snow-capped temple up there. That's cool. Here you have a city, and it's sort of built like this, but it's not as bustling and mapped up. And I like how you have the kite flying up. But I do think actually if you move to the northeast, they do have this little city. So this, I guess, would be the one little Pandaran city kind of over the bridges that you deal with. I think that's where the hot air balloon, there's a hot air balloon quest line over there. All right, we'll do one more. Town Long Steps. Only the bravest Pandaran dare enter these highlands, although the area remains uncorrupted by the Shah. Only the nomadic Yongols and the Manted choose to make this region their home. Yeah, this is the one that's uncorrupted by the Shah. I feel like this is the darkest, spookiest. This is the only one that kind of gives me a run for the money where it's like, okay, if I was going to pick a least favorite zone, it'd probably be this one. Yeah, you have the weird, freaky Manted tree. You have, yeah, this is their insectoid kind of art style, building style, architecture style. Yeah, you have the amber color because the amber is so big as part of the Manted's culture. But we're not seeing the creatures. We're only seeing art. So we're spending half the book just looking, and they're still keeping the Chinese, but it's got that weird little curvature of a bug. Yeah, same thing. Chinese style mixed with the amber, mixed with the bug. It's cool. It's good things for an artist to play with, I would imagine. And here you almost have, yeah, you have the Manted like heroes as their sketch, like the same way that the others are using different figures. The Manted are using statues of whatever their archons or whatever they're called, their most powerful ones. Here you have, I guess that creature could be a Manted for perspective. Yeah, so they're really not much to show. They're not showing a lot of the Yongol structure. They're just really digging in on the Manted structure. Here you have right along the borders, because along the borders of the Town Long Steps, you do have the gates leading into the Veil of Eternal Blossoms. There you go. And I think that's where we'll stop. That's a good stopping point. Yeah, because we're at the halfway point in the book. We're probably just under half an hour. So it's not taking us much longer to actually go through and discuss this. But it is good. I'm glad we found a way to look at it. But it is, it's going to be tricky. So I got to make sure I don't lose this tab. This was a deep, deep dive to find this. And we'll wrap it up tomorrow. But for now, we have another episode in the pipe, 5x5. And as always, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time on Lore of Warcraft.